Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 premium ships released in World of Warships Legends in the year 2021. My opinion, of course, few caveats. We're not going to be counting the most recent pair of Warhammer ships. The CCs were given doubloons to get those, and I used the doubloons on something else, so I didn't get to try those out. Heard they were pretty decent, though, at least one of them. Black Friday ships, those are just basically reskin versions of the previously released ships, so we're not going to be counting those. And legendary tier, we're just going to leave that out. Okay, so these are going to be basically up to tier 7, and let me know in the comments if you think I'm missing something, or maybe you think I got the order all wrong. I'd like to hear your guys' feedback on this as well. Starting off, number 10, US Battleship Tier 7, Georgia. Now this thing's pretty decent. It's got good maneuverability, you got the speed boost, hard hitting guns. The accuracy can get a little wonky at times, but overall it's a pretty fun ship to play. You can really run either a Lee or a Sims build on the Georgia and have pretty good success. I got Lee recently, but I'm thinking about putting Sims back in the pilot seat after playing a few games earlier today. Well, overall, Georgia, pretty good ship. Good place to start the list off. Second ship, Tier 7 US Battleship Massachusetts. Now this one, you have options as well. It does have really good secondaries. If you want to use kind of a normal build, I think the secondaries kick in at about 8.5 kilometers, give or take. I go all in. I got this Kong character, and basically, it's the only American battleship except for one of my Tier 3 Arkansas that I really go big on the secondaries. But I got my secondary range up to over 10.5, I believe. Now these are, you don't have as many secondary guns as you would on the Bismarck with the Massachusetts, but they are much more accurate, okay? And especially if you're running that secondary module enhancement on the slot 4 perk, that really tightens up the grouping. So Massachusetts is pretty good, overall pretty good American battleship to begin with, but you get the added benefit of another kind of secondary heavy battleship at tier 7. So that one's quite a lot of fun to play. Next up, German destroyer. I think this one's tier 6, Z35. Now this one's interesting. It's got very good sonar range. Okay, it's not quite as good as one of the ships that we'll be seeing later on in the list, of course. But for German destroyer sonar, it's among the best. Okay, it's kind of, my view on the Z35 is it's not like amazing at anything, but it's like pretty good at everything. It's got good torpedo action, decent guns. The sonar is kind of the highlight, decent smoke. The drill. I kind of feel like the German destroyers as a whole are kind of middle of the pack in terms of a lot of the abilities that destroyers have. So I think it's got good versatility, and this is the ship I think I ran in the most recent tier 6 rank season. I had a lot of success with that one. So Z35, definitely a strong contender. Coming up next, Weimar, tier 6 German cruiser. Now we got a lot of these German cruisers that just pump out the shells. Okay, now this one kind of replaced the München. München came out, I don't know, 4 or 5 months earlier than this one, and when it came out, it would have been up higher on the list, of course. But this Weimar basically has the same setup, but an extra gun per turret. So the damage per minute is quite enhanced on the Weimar. Now it's a little bit clunky on the turning, the maneuverability, somewhat suspect at times, but if left to its own devices, it can tear you to shreds. Okay, it can rock with the AP, the HE doesn't really matter. Just focus on what the target's doing. If they're broadside, switch to the AP. And if it's heavily armored, aim up a little bit. And if it's angled at you, coming right at you or going away from you, then go ahead and switch over to the HE. You're going to get great results with the Weimar. So kind of one of those DPM monster cruisers that we've been seeing. A little bit difficult though in the survivability aspect, but that's all right. Just go ahead and keep yourself safe. You can have a lot of fun with the Weimar. Up next, what do we got here? One of the pairs of destroyers. A couple campaigns ago, we saw 2 destroyers as options. Now here we got the Friesland. The Friesland's one of the more unique ships in the game. Certainly one of the more unique destroyers in the game. Lightning fast reloading guns. The damage that you can pile up with these guns on the Friesland, immense. Okay, if you've ever been on the receiving end of the Friesland's wrath and you don't have an ability to immediately counter it, well, you know that it can whittle you down quite quickly. Okay, but the problems the Friesland has, no torpedoes, so it's susceptible to getting rushed. It's got a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to that when fighting other destroyers, especially if they get disengaged, perhaps start hiding in a cloud or something. Then you don't have those torpedoes to shoot in to that position. Other than that, though, it's an extremely dangerous ship, and you can't forget it has an outstanding smoke sonar combo. American quality smokes and German quality destroyer sonar, I think. I don't know the exact range, but it's low to mid fours. I think about 4-1, 4-2, whatever it is. Outstanding combination there. So you really have a lot of tools. You just got to be focusing on, okay, when do I need to disengage? Am I getting pushed here? Am I getting in a situation I can't get out of? Okay, because once you kind of get stuck in those situations, you can go down pretty quickly. Overall, though, Friesland, quite a lot of fun and capable of putting up the numbers. All right, so that's the first half of the list. Coming up next, Tier 7 Japanese cruiser, Uzuya. Sister to one of my favorite ships in the game, Megami. But instead of the 203s that the Megami has, making it a heavy cruiser, this one has lighter caliber guns. It's not going to be shooting quite as fast as these do German cruisers or Minotaur, for instance, or ships of that nature. But, you know, the reload on it's about 8 seconds, give or take. Quite capable of pumping out the damage. And a lot of Uzuya games, if you're able to stay alive the whole time, you're going to be winding up in like the 20 fire range. So this is a difficult ship to be playing against if you're not able to effectively counter it. It does have the maneuverability to do a little bit dodge and weave action here. It's got the torpedoes that can send down range, you know, kind of make the waters dangerous for the ships that are in the area. But like any of these other cruisers, if you're able to catch it on the jaw, it can go down pretty quickly. So Uzuya's definitely one of those ships you want to take out whenever possible. But if you're playing the ship, you can have a lot of fun. And I think I checked the damage record the other day, and it was like over 300,000 or something ridiculous. So definitely capable of causing consternation and pain in the red team. Up next, Mines. Coming in at number 4. Now this is the Tier 7. Basically the upgrade on the Weimar. And, you know, just goes with the territory. A little bit more damage output. A little bit clunkier in the maneuverability, I believe. I haven't done the stats side by side, but it seems playing it that's a little bit clunkier than the Weimar. But overall, quite capable of pumping out the damage. Once again, one of those cruisers that you just, if you're playing against it, you see it, go ahead and target it. Okay, it should be relatively easy to take down if you're going to be landing these shots. Doesn't have the greatest armor scheme, but you know, if you leave it alone, it can whittle you down. Once again, AP for broadsides, HE for angled targets. And destroyers, go ahead and test that AP, especially at the higher tiers. You might have enough armor to really do some serious damage with those AP shells in the destroyers. If not, if they're either overpenning or skipping off the sides due to angling, go ahead and switch over to the HE. You got the tools to deal with anything. Up next, Pablo, aka the Paulo Emilio. Probably my favorite ship in the game, hands down. Okay, now this thing is probably a little bit more difficult. I say it's kind of an ironic ship, right? Because it's designed to be played the way that most of the amateur or the new destroyer players, I would say, approach the game, right? Rush a battleship, go ahead and try and nuke them, and then move on with your life. But here's the difference with the Pablo. You got a huge health pool. You got torps that hit hard. We're talking George Foreman hard in his prime. Very scary torps. And this thing's a double strike machine, Kraken machine, dev strikes, everything. It can hit so hard. You get the smoke. You basically just pop the smoke as you're approaching these ships. You can go right in the middle of these black holes and just break them up. You can just launch torps everywhere. One dedicated launcher in the middle that can fire off both sides, and then one launcher on each side of the ship that'll fire off only the one side. So you get 3 salvos per rush, essentially, meaning if you can get in the middle of these ships, you can do some serious damage on them. Okay, the only problem is, and you can counter this with your build if you want to put on the proxy spot mod on slot 3, of course, then you can negate this problem. But usually when you're approaching these ships, especially battleships, and you got the cloud, the trailing cloud going alongside you, they'll be able to proxy spot you at 3 kilometers. Maybe they'll be able to blast you. You won't be able to proxy spot them until 2 kilometers away. So they got a little bit of an advantage there, but once you kind of figure out how to handle it, overall, solid ship. Very fun to play. Probably my favorite ship currently. Not the best at fighting other destroyers, but you do have to kind of pick your shots when it comes to those due to the slow firing guns. Otherwise, all around fun and very strong ship. Coming at number 2, Achikov. This one's probably, I think it was like the first or second campaign of the year. I had to go way back to come across this one in the old patch notes, but Achikov really has all the tools. It's one of the best cruisers in the game, certainly one of the best at tier 7. Long distance radar, 11.7 kilometers, fast cycling guns, hard hitting. You got good HE shells, you got AP that can shred ships when appropriately used, and it really does everything. It's very hard to sink as well, kind of a small protected citadel. So Achikov, frustrating to play against, but quite a lot of fun to play. A lot of these ships, you'll note, I've been campaign ships, and well, not every campaign ship in the game is going to wind up being great. A lot of them are pretty dang good. So usually after you buy the, the Firepower Edition or whatever to get going on World of Warships Legends, then I would recommend the best bet in terms of spending money, the values on the campaigns. You get a lot of commander promotion items, and usually we're getting pretty good ships. Not always. There have been a few clunkers, but usually you're going to be getting some good ships, Achikov included. So whether or not you'll ever get another chance to buy that one or not, I don't know. It might be a little too strong. We'll see. Time will tell. Maybe it'll come out as a green XP ship at some point. Number 1 on the list, a lot of you guys probably can already predict this since I've made the claim a few times that the ship could definitely be the best ship in the game. And in my opinion, it's definitely the best premium ship that's come out in 2021. That's right, the Asian destroyer Loyang. Torpedoes capable, guns capable. Pretty good maneuverability. Not a lot of downsides about this thing, but it has the best smoke sonar combo on any destroyer currently in the game, which of course means it should be able to beat all of the destroyers if played with a little bit of care and, proper execution, I say. So, Loyang, you get this. It's basically the same sonar that's on the York, right? 5.4 kilometers. Once again, you got American class smoke clouds, 2-minute cloud. And, if you can catch those destroyers within that range, especially if you can get relatively close to them, then you should be able to pop the smoke, get the sonar down, then you and your teammates will be able to blow that destroyer before they're able to get away from your grip. So the Loyang, pretty dang strong. You do have to be careful getting too close to the radar cruisers at higher tiers, of course. You got legendary tier, tier 7, and even a lot of the tier 6 cruisers. All the tiers that you're going to be facing, there'll be a lot of radar cruisers. You want to make sure you're not getting too close to them because, of course, they can negate that smoke sonar advantage. If they spot you, then the destroyer you're trying to fight and their teammates, they can all get shots at you and take you out. So you see a Loyang on the enemy team, go ahead and get rid of it. If you got the Loyang, congratulations. I'm sure you know by now that it's an outstanding ship. And once again, I don't know if we'll ever see the Loyang or not. I don't know if a lot of people consider it as OP as I do, or I don't even consider it necessarily OP. I just think it's really, really strong. But it's possible to come down the pipe again once, as time goes on. So keep an eye out for the Loyang if it's ever available again. I think you're going to want to go ahead and grab it. So that's going to do it for the list here, guys. Those are, once again, my opinions. Let me know if you agree with me, or where did I get it wrong? What do you think I left off the list, or what do you think I underrated, overrated? Let me know in the comments, and that'll do it. So if you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We got lots of World of Warships, and it's coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave below. Love to hear from you guys, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.